Throne and Liberty. This game came out. It was probably one of the biggest disappointments that I feel like gaming has had in a long time. Like, bad. Like, literally every single person in the directory was just sitting there with the game on autoplay, talking about how bad it is. Apparently, it has been getting better, however, which is why we have this video. Throne and Liberty saved? Oh my God. And also, this game was such a piece of shit that the NCSoft stock, whenever the beta for this game came out, actually went down multiple points. That's how bad this beta was.
So Throne and Liberty just released an article on their website in Korean addressing a lot of the major issues that they had from the previous beta test. This article also included an unlisted video that was uploaded to their YouTube channel showcasing the new and improved combat.
Let's see it. Let's get it. That looks pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty fucking good. All right, cool. I mean, killing the chocobos was a bit fucked up, you're right.
So the producer of Throne and Liberty, Asmongold, published an article today essentially going over all the major issues with the game. He starts this article off by saying, "Are you doing well? The beta test where I first showed TL to you all was in May, so it's been about 4 months since I'm posting my greetings. I should have posted my greetings as soon as possible, but I couldn't because I was busy with development projects. To be honest, I spent a long time worrying and being scared about what to include in my first greeting to you all. We will try to deliver the news faster in the future."
Okay.
In the first letter, I would like to explain the development direction that has changed since the beta test and the concerns I had during the process.
Thank God.
I hope this will be a welcome letter to those who have been waiting for news for a long time.
Yeah, like my expectations and like hype for this game was at like a 6 or a 7. And whenever I saw the game be played, my expectations went to like a 2. And I thought to myself, well, at least I can give this game the Diablo Immortal treatment, where I just make content about how bad it is for like a week and then I quit.
After the beta test, there was a lot of time to worry about our assignment after the beta test, because the results of the test were not at all optimistic. There were some grateful comments, but it was our reprimands that moved our hearts. There were warnings about things I was confident about.
He took my fucking name? Bro, Cannon took my name in the game? Are you kidding me? What the fuck?
And there were also things that
made
made
it
me
a
realize
girl?
what I was worried about. It also served as an opportunity to recover the objective perspective that had been buried while focusing on the development for a long time. I would like to thank everyone who commented on this article. He then goes on to say, before telling you what kind of changes are taking place, I would like to share our awareness of the problems we have. We defined the game's problems revealed in beta testing as twofold. It's static combat and boring growth. These keywords...
Yeah. I can really appreciate this. Yeah, the problems were the combat sucked and the leveling and the player progression sucked. Yeah, that about summed it up, yeah.
may sound like an obvious task, but behind them are the various planning intentions we wanted to implement. In explaining the improvements today, I would like to tell you how our thoughts were expressed and how we will correct any deviations from our intentions. The combat system is addressed next in the article. When planning the shape of a large-scale war, we considered formations to be important. So we implemented collisions between characters and set most attack actions so they cannot be performed simultaneously with movement.
God, New World did the same thing. I really wish that, like, developers would stop trying to make games realistic. I really do. Because every single time that, like, a game has, like, one of these, like, realistic things, it just is it's just worse to play.
However, our decision resulted in inconvenience in movement and infringement on freedom of operation.
Exactly.
The shortcomings became more noticeable in battles in peace zones, which took up most of the playtime rather than in large-scale war situations. To improve this, we have taken the following steps.
Okay, what is it?
The overall combat system has been changed to allow attacks while moving, Conflicts between
That's
characters
nice.
have been eliminated in all areas except conflict areas.
I think that it's totally fine to have collision between like enemies in PvP, but besides that, I don't think it really serves much of a purpose.
The inertial effect applied when changing direction has been minimized to increase the responsiveness of operation.
Oh, that's
in addition
good.
to target.
Yeah, that sounds like PUBG. Remember how, like, you know, you would play PUBG and it felt like moving your character was driving a car? Like, I think that's probably what they mean by this. I didn't play the beta for this, but that's what my understanding was.
Skills, many new types of skills have been added, such as specifying a direction or hitting a specific point according to the PC operating environment.
Okay.
We increased the number of skills initially given and quickly changed the learning speed of new skills. Furthermore, he then continues to address some of the issues with the weapon system. We are also working on ways to make weapon swaps more seamless. The weapon system of wearing and using two types of weapons is a very important feature in Throne and Liberty combat, but the actual combination of weapons used has clear limitations, since it was a system that expected various weapon combinations to be completed according to the individual tastes and concepts. A change was needed on this issue as well. The stat system.
Yeah, like, you can't have this system. Like, Classic WoW had this issue too. Like, I've always thought that, like, weapon swapping in Classic WoW is garbage. I thought, like, having to put on a shield and stuff like that to, like, to do different things, it's just, it plays badly. It's a great idea, but it's extremely clunky in practice. Whereas, like, whenever you compare it to, like, Diablo 4 with Berserker or Barbarian, it's flawless. It's great. But, like, having to sit, like, this, like, weird fucking, it was, like, this secondary internal cooldown in order to, like, swap weapons. It was really, really garbage. So, yeah, I mean, if Path of Exile 2 can figure this out and Diablo 4 can figure it out, then absolutely Throne and Liberty should be able to figure it out, too. Diablo 4 bad? True, but not in this circumstance. Yeah, the weapon swap was great.
Where certain stats only affected the attack power of certain weapons has been completely overhauled. Fighting, spirit, skill, wisdom, insight affect the attack power of all weapons, and the effects of additional abilities other than attack power have been expanded.
That's good.
Weapon passive skills that were only effective when using certain weapons have been adjusted to have an even effect on all weapons. We have reduced the burden of operating multiple equipment by increasing the number of sources for making early equipment and obtaining reinforcement materials.
That sounds good. Like, all of this sounds great. And it's like, it's really funny to me that, like, I hope you guys remember this whenever a game comes out and it's problematic or bad in some way. NCSoft lost multiple points of their stock, and because of that, they just made the changes the players want. And all the things that were maybe potentially impossible before then, now instantly become possible. Just the same as Blizzard did with Shadowlands. Because if players stop playing the game, the developers will do whatever they can to get players to play the game again.
The two biggest issues that everyone has with Throne and Liberty is the combat, the static combat, and the auto combat, otherwise known as astral hunting. This was addressed next in the article. They go on to say, to discuss growth or leveling, it would be best to start with the story of automatic hunting or grinding. The MMORPG genre has inevitably been accompanied by long-term play. As the history of the genre accumulated over a long period of time, we decided that the existence of an automatic hunting system was increasingly recognized as a natural thing in MMORPGs, and we also followed that trend and introduced automatic hunting. However, I think this decision was taken too easily. Through beta testing, we heard voices of disappointment about automatic hunting from many users. We reflected on the fact that what gamers who play with a keyboard, mouse, and pad expected was not an automatic game in which characters move on their own, but a game in which they could immerse themselves by close.
Here's the problem with automatic, with autoplay, right? So I always thought they added autoplay into games to combat botting, right? Because it's like, okay, well, you can't really have bots in this game anymore because everybody can bot, so there's no botting because everybody's a bot, right? So that's what I always assumed that they added autoplay in for. But the reason that I think it's stupid is that content that's autoplayable is usually like really, really easy content, right? It's like super brain dead, you know, just go in here, AoE 10 mobs, and then move on and do it again. So what happens is that you have this situation where you have this like throwaway, bad, boring content that just exists in the game. Why does it exist? Because nobody wants to do it. That's why they autoplay it. And everybody's autoplaying it in the first place. So like, why is it even there? So like, I don't think autoplay is like necessarily a bad thing in all cases, but I think in a lot of cases, what autoplay really does more than anything is it puts a lens on the content in the game that's actually useless. It serves no purpose. Nobody wants to do it. You just have to do this for some reason. Yeah, they're time-wasting activities.
Controlling content worth manipulating. Along with automatic hunting, automatic movement was also removed. We considered keeping automatic movement in terms of convenience due to its size, but we decided to boldly remove it because of the value of experience of moving around the world, meeting people.
I do hope they have auto run. Like, you know, press numlock and you can auto run like in WoW. Like it's preferable to me. So you don't have to keep the key held down. But otherwise, yeah, I'm fine with that.
And exploring new areas. The intent is pretty clear here. They're trying to remove everything and just increase player immersion. I wouldn't have had an issue personally with the auto movement. I think BDO's done a great job implementing this into their game. Generally speaking, when you have large open worlds, auto movement really isn't the worst thing. However, there are a lot of people that are against automatic movement, automatic combat, anything that's related to automatic systems, and they just removed all of that. They're going to start incentivizing exploration, and they really want you to feel like you're in the world, which is definitely a step in the right direction. They extend on this in the article by saying, from the point of removing automation, the game had to transform into meaningful content play rather than simple repetitive hunting. Of course, it's not that...
See, that's what I was getting at, right? Is that a lot of the autoplay content isn't meaningful and it has no value. Like, if you just took all of the autoplay content out of the game and rebalanced the game to just have people actually play through the content legitimately, it would just, I think in almost every case, make a game better. Whenever you're talking about an MMO, like if you're talking about like Honghai Star Rail or something like that, it's a bit of a different thing, right? But like overall, that's my perspective on it.
Our game didn't have those elements, but we needed to add new content types to improve quantitatively, and we also needed to supplement existing content to improve qualitatively. The proportion of hunting in the growth section has been significantly reduced. Experience rewards for Adventure Codex, Exploration Codex, and regional events have been significantly increased. Various missions...
That's a pretty big relief that, like, they kind of understand. It seems like they actually understand what the real problem is, rather than just removing autoplay because people don't like autoplay. That's actually I'm very glad to hear that is the logic they're using.
Elements other than hunting are being added to the Exploration Codex and Resistance quests, and we are preparing a number of party play instance dungeons that require boss clearing. Now, the point on adding meaningful content and removing some repetitive hunting, that's a big one for me, because that tells me that they have identified that their game really does feel like a mobile MMORPG. As someone that's tested this game out, sure, the astral hunting sucks, and the stiff combat really sucks too, or the non-movement based combat. It makes it feel like more of a mobile MMO. But not only that, what you actually did to progress, like that beginning experience certainly made it feel like this was a mobile MMORPG. That was the best way that I could describe it. And what we just read in the article.
Yeah, the thing is, like, a lot of people are just, I think that culturally, a lot of players are kind of tired of playing video games where they are constantly being hamstrung and having their time wasted arbitrarily for different metrics, right? Whether it's like, you know, metrics of getting people to buy a boost pack or anything else like that. I just think in general, yeah, I think something got in my fan. A roach? Is it? Did a roach get into PC? Do you guys hear that? Yes? Okay, give me a minute. Let me think about what to do. Anyway, so like I think that a lot of players are kind of tired of having a game that like puts like these arbitrary benchmarks and these arbitrary like kind of walls up for you and things that will like hold you back or waste your time just in general. And I think that that's why like single player games that aren't like, because I think really the problem is with live service games, that this is what happens. Because live service games benefit whenever players put more time into the game versus like a Baldur's Gate 3 or an Elden Ring, that it doesn't really matter how much time people put into the game. They bought the game. So it's like they just let you do the content, right? You don't have to farm for like a 1% drop and, you know, collect a bunch of little doodads and bullshit in the game, because the game's monetization model isn't built around that. So I think that whenever a lot of players see that, oh, well, I can only make so much progress per day, or I can only do this or that per day or whatever, people immediately lose interest. Because I think the more games that use that system, the more people see that that is a system, and they can kind of see the, you know, the strings behind that are like kind of the person who's pulling the strings. Ain't got time for that. Yeah, exactly.
Here really tells me that they've identified that that is also a core issue, the content that's in the game, and hopefully they can make improvements to really make this feel like a fleshed out MMORPG that's designed for the PC. Now, at the end of that, they also did mention that they're adding instance dungeons with bosses that you can kill for smaller groups, smaller parties, which I think is also very good. And they end the article by explaining how they're going to reduce the grind. Level growth has been adjusted based on manual play to max level. The time to reach level 30, which was shown in the beta test, has been reduced by 1/3. The time to reach level 50, which is the maximum level for opening, has been reduced to 1/10. He then closes out the article by saying that he's set up a
1/10. Holy shit. That is a massive nerf. Oh my God.
bulletin board, they're taking player feedback, and that there is additional content that they have not yet announced that we'll be hearing from soon. When it comes to my thoughts, guys, I think this is a huge step in the right direction. I was very skeptical as to how much this game could realistically improve. After playing it, I was like, look, man, if you just add movement to the combat, it's still going to be pretty shit. But after reading the article and seeing the trailer, or the preview rather, I'm a lot more optimistic. I really like the fact that they're not only allowing you to move, but they're adding other significant mandatory features to the combat, like targeting this, everything that we already went over in the article. I think this is a huge step in the right direction, removing astral hunting as well. And like I said earlier in the video, meaningful content. So it doesn't feel like a go from point A to point B mobile MMORPG like experience. We're still gonna have to see whether this game is good or not. I really like the direction they're going, but it could still be shit. I don't know. We'll just have to.
Well, maybe we'll find out that it's shit. 20 hours into playing it, not 20 seconds into playing it. So I think that's an improvement.
See, but I will definitely be testing this game when it comes out in Korea, as well as any beta tests that they have. So if you want to stay up to date, be sure to like and subscribe. Oh, and by the way, if you're seeing the footage here and you're noticing that the character name is Asmongold, that's not really Asmongold, that's my character. I named him after Asmongold, so sorry, Asmon.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? How did somebody get my name? But yeah, that makes sense. That's a canon video. I'll link it to you. Give it a like if you guys like the video. I am excited for this game. I definitely am. I am excited again. Because for a while, let's be honest, guys, Throne and Liberty was not looking good at all. So it's great to see some improvements here and to see them actually listening to the feedback. And again, it's like what I said, every single time that you actually, hold people's feet to the fire and the stock loses value, what a surprise that in literal just a few months, the combat is completely fucking changed. And that's what happens. Yep, speak with your wallet. And people did.